For my final 2017 big end-of-the-year project, I wanted to highlight the ports, the remakes, and the remasters of 2017 because this has been the best year yet for all of that stuff. A lot of these games would actually make it into my hidden gems and top 10 games of the year categories, but I do want to save those for brand new games that came out in 2017. Since these games are just, ports, remakes, whatever, I don't think it's fair to loop them into the new stuff. So that's why I created this category, to do a huge retrospective on some of the best retro games of the year. And these 10 are only a fraction of what's out there, but these are my 10 favorites. So without further ado, let's begin with Crash Bandicoot N Sane Trilogy. I'm not that fond of the first game, but 2 and 3 were huge in my family household. My brother played them, my sister played them, and I of course played them as well. They're just fun platformers. I've said this in many videos and articles before, but my family grew up with a Nintendo, and then they moved on from the Super Nintendo onto the PlayStation generation. We skipped all the Nintendo things past that. So, Crash Bandicoot was my Nintendo 64 version of Super Mario 64 and Banjo-Kazooie and all that good stuff. Sure, these games never really made a huge splash in terms of introducing new mechanics into the 3D platformer genre like Banjo or Mario did, but I still think they hold up rather well. And this is a fantastic upgrade in terms of visuals as well. Now the mechanics are a little hit and miss. Some of the hit detection as well as button prompts seem to be off a little bit, but patches have made them a little bit more, let's say, tolerable. Overall, I think this is a fantastic package, and I really hope we get to see a brand new Crash Bandicoot very soon because it actually sold pretty well. Next, we have Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, which was kind of a toss-up between this one and the collection that contained 1.5 and 2.5 together, because that is a huge collection of games, and I think a better bang for your buck, as that has the best games of Kingdom Hearts in that collection. But the reason why I chose this instead is because it actually contained a lot of new stuff. And those collections have existed before on the PS3, and this is, brand new. This has a new Birth by Sleep kind of prologue to Kingdom Hearts 3 with Aqua. It also has a movie kind of explaining that mobile game and how the Keyblade Wars all kind of started. And then of course we have Dream Drop Distance, which was actually a really good 3DS game that probably a lot of people didn't play because at the time maybe the 3DS wasn't as popular as it had come to be. The movie is okay, the 3DS game holds up quite a bit. Maybe the Pokemon type animals that you get are a little bit more friendlier when it comes to the 3DS in terms of portability and having to micromanage your feelings with them to kind of build a relationship. And I did feel that graphically the Aqua stuff was kind of weird. The design made it seem like they were made out of clay a little bit. It was kind of off-putting to me and actually really depressing as well. But the combat was great, and it does give me great hope for what's to come in actually Kingdom Hearts 3, which hopefully we get to see in some form in a more thought out full form in 2018, but I'm not holding my breath. Next we have Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age, already a underlooked Final Fantasy game. I really hope people pick this one up because, it is very different than the normal quote-unquote Final Fantasy games, that is to say turn-based stuff. It takes place in Ivalice, which is in turn a spin-off franchise world, and the combat is more reminiscent of an MMO. Plus, the story, while good, is more political heavy, and it's not really about the characters so much as it is about the actual plot of everything going on. But that said, the visual upgrades are fantastic. Being able to fast forward through stuff is great as well. And there's a lot of other mechanical and design stuff that has been improved as well, making it a lot easier for people to pick up and play. I really wish this came out with a Vita version as well because I would have put a lot more time into the side quests, but I devoured this thing so fast. It is fantastic. It really helped me realize how much I actually love Final Fantasy XII. It's definitely in my top 5. So, HD version, thanks for the reminder. Next, another giant RPG franchise, Dragon Quest VIII, Journey of the Cursed King. A fantastic PS2 game that actually came with the demo for Final Fantasy XII originally, and this 3DS version has been a long time coming. It came out a long time ago in Japan, and it finally got ported over to the West, and it's great. It is definitely my favorite Dragon Quest in terms of the cel-shaded visuals. The story is actually more centralized. I care more about my characters and my party. It just feels like a huge RPG with a lot of evolutions for Dragon Quest VIII. And this portable version is great too in terms of tweaking what was already good in 8 and making it a little bit more user-friendly. Like also being able to fast forward through battles and being able to see monsters on the world map. And new additions like new party members, new areas, new side quests. Overall, this is the version to play if you really want to get into Dragon Quest VIII, or if you want to get into Dragon Quest in general. Next, the Disney Afternoon Collection, which was a big surprise. This was kind of announced a month before it came out, and it contains some awesome Capcom games that have been overlooked on the NES. Capcom really made excellent Disney games back in the day. There's Rescue Rangers 1 and 2, Tailspin, DuckTales 1 and 2, and of course Darkwing Duck. Now the coolest thing about this game is that you can rewind time at any point, making it kind of a breeze to get through, although you still actually have to make the platforming, you still have to defeat the bosses, so it's not like an easy win button, but it makes the backtracking that much less of a hassle. Plus, Rescue Rangers 1 and 2 have co-op, so that was fun. I just wish there was co-op in more of these games. Of these all, I would say DuckTales and the first Rescue Rangers are probably the best, but the other games are fairly good as well. Next we have Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap, which is a very confusing rundown of how this series is sprawled out, but let's just say this is kind of Metroidvania-y. You are basically going into this castle to defeat a dragon who turns you into a dragon, and then you're just trying to configure yourself back into your normal body. Along the way, you get transformed into other things as well, from a dragon to a mouse to a bunch of other things. And all of these creatures have different abilities as well, like the mouse can climb on certain walls, and the dragon is just, you know, kind of a cool projectile in terms of his fire breath. And all of them have different equipment, and it's just, if you can't really tell, the visuals are fantastic. Plus, another really cool retro feature is being able to turn on the old graphics along with the new graphics in a very cool style. You can actually take a screenshot while it's developing into the old or the new, so you get to see a kind of a blend of half and half of what the game looked like and what the game is now. Now we have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is kind of a cheat because this is the most port of all of these. It's just basically Mario Kart 8 from the Wii U, with the Deluxe being all the DLC, but this is one of the first racing games that I have ever beat to completion. Got all the items, raced every single track, tried to do all of the CCs, 50, 100, all that stuff. It is just, the soundtrack is fantastic, it looks so good, all the characters are awesome as well, and all the upgrade mechanics you can do for all your vehicles. It is just so fun. It is the perfect Mario Kart experience, and just really a new place for people to discover it since the Wii U was, kind of a disaster. Next, an arcade game that was long dormant for so long until Giant Bomb kind of revived it, and now years later after they started talking about it, Windjammers is finally out. And I saw them play it, I saw other places play it as well. I even tried to emulate it via arcade, and that was all fine, but it wasn't until I played it on the PS4 that I really just got hooked into it. It is just such a fun party game, even now. It's just perfect. Sure, there's a lot of little tiny flaws with this little port, like when I first got it and was able to be online while playing the game and just kind of auto shut off, essentially. So there's a lot of bugs in here, but the game itself is just so much fun, whether you're playing against a computer or playing against a friend, which, that is the way to play it. just trash talking on the couch or chairs or however you're sitting in front of the screen, standing in front of the screen. It is just amazing. And now we have Metroid Samus Returns, which is a remake of Metroid 2 for the Game Boy. I was actually not expecting a lot of this game because Mercury's Steam has kind of been, oh, let's say their track record is not that great. After all, they did develop some Castlevania games. That first Lords of Shadow game was okay, and then the other two were not so much. So with them making a Metroid style game, I thought, well, if they couldn't do it with Castlevania, they probably can't do it with Metroid, and turns out I was wrong. It's a fantastic remake. Even the 3D looks fantastic when developers have all but abandoned 3D technology on the 3DS. It's a really, really good Metroid game, and a game that I didn't like before with the original Game Boy version. That said, it does have a lot of bad qualities that I just can't get over with Metroid and Metroidvanias, in that it's kind of hard to navigate. They give you a lot of room for exploration, but then they kind of hide things so you don't know which order that you're supposed to go in, and it's actually a lot bigger than I expected to, so I think there's a lot of padding in this game. But I mean, if they trimmed it down, I think it would have been a better experience, but overall, I think it's just a fantastic surprise. And last but not least, you may call this cheating, but I think the Super Nintendo Classic deserves to be on this list. It's basically the same collection as Crash or Kingdom Hearts, but it just actually comes with the console itself. Yeah, I know, it may not be keeping in line with the other games on this list, but again, it is just a phenomenon. I think it is just fantastic. I can't believe I was able to get my hands on a Super Nintendo Classic. It has some of my favorite games of all time, like Super Mario RPG, Final Fantasy VI, Super Mario World, Link to the Past, so many games. Actually, I would say probably Link to the Past is my favorite game of all time. But anyway, it's just video games in the perfect era, right before they went into 3D. The Super Nintendo will remain a classic forever, and this collection is just proof of that. There's so many great games. There's some duds, but there's no just awful games that are just kind of bewildering that they put on here. Although there are some curious omissions, like Chrono Trigger, where the heck is that? And this game comes with 2 controllers. Why are there no beat-em-ups? That is insane. TMNT or any of the final fights, something would have been great, but just kind of an oversight. But if you really want those games, of course you can hack it. Well, that's it for my top 10 ports, remasters, remakes, whatever this thing is called. Thank you for joining me. It has been a fantastic year for retro games and retrospectives. If you haven't checked my channel, I covered a lot throughout 2017. There's a lot of big 10-year, 20-year, and 30-year anniversaries. But that's not the place to talk about that now. Anyway, this is my final retrospective on 2017, so thank you all for joining me through all of these compilations. The 30 games I cover are all fantastic, makes me love 2017 so much, but it also makes me look forward to 2018. So hopefully we'll have even more great things to talk about then. With that said, Happy New Year, see you in 2018. My name is Tristan, and you've been watching ReActionExaminer, wherein I do my best to create interesting videos to entertain and educate you fine folks. Be sure to subscribe, that helped me out a lot. And if you want to check out more, be sure to read my work over on The Gamer, wherein I write fun little listicles. You can also drop by my personal website, GameJerk, wherein I post other articles and reviews. All these links and more can be found in the description below. Thanks, and see you all next time.